You've done it before. You get close to the thing you say you want, a promotion, a launch, a finished manuscript sitting one email away from being sent. And then, right at the edge of it, something in you flinches. You find a reason to wait. You find a reason to check it one more time. You find a reason to almost. What if that flinch isn't weakness? What if it's design? For most of your life, you've been told that success is blocked by laziness, or fear of failure, or simply not wanting it enough. But there's a stranger possibility hiding underneath all of that. Your brain may not be built to chase success at all. It may be built to chase safety. And for most of human history, those two things were not the same. Picture a small band of early humans, maybe 40 people moving together across a landscape that wanted them dead, not metaphorically, actually dead. Predators, disease, starvation, rival groups. In that world, survival depended on one resource above all others: the group, being fed, protected, and included by the people around you. Standing out from that group was not obviously good. It was a gamble. The anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades studying small-scale societies and found something that surprises most people. Egalitarianism wasn't the natural state of humanity because everyone was generous. It was enforced. Groups actively suppressed members who tried to dominate, accumulate too much, or rise too far above everyone else. Boehm called this a reverse dominance hierarchy. The group, together, kept any one person from getting too big. Now sit with that for a second. For tens of thousands of years, becoming visibly, obviously more successful than the people around you wasn't just risky. It could get you punished, gossiped about, isolated, in the harshest cases, killed. Your ancestors who survived long enough to have children were not, on average, the ones reaching furthest above the group. They were the ones who stayed close enough to be safe inside it. That is not a story about ambition. That is a story about camouflage. So here's the reframe. The part of you that hesitates right before a big win isn't broken. It's an ancient alarm system, still wired for a world that hasn't existed for 10,000 years, going off the moment you start to stand out. You can see the same instinct playing out in a modern laboratory. In the 1970s, psychologist Matina Horner ran a study asking college students to finish a story about a character who was at the top of their medical school class. The responses split sharply by how much success anxiety a person carried, not simply by gender, as she originally framed it. Many people, when imagining themselves clearly ahead of their peers, wrote endings full of guilt, isolation, or disaster. Not because success was unimaginable, because success that visible felt dangerous to hold. That feeling has a name now. Psychologists call it fear of success, and it behaves differently than fear of failure. Fear of failure whispers, "You're not capable." Fear of success whispers something colder. If you get this, something else breaks. Your relationships change. People expect more. You become a target instead of a member. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between a modern promotion and an ancient exile. It just recognizes the shape. You, above the group, alone. This is where self-sabotage stops looking irrational and starts looking almost logical. Psychologist Edward Jones described a pattern he called self-handicapping, where people unconsciously create obstacles for themselves before a big moment. Underprepared for the presentation on purpose. Staying up too late before the interview. Not because you want to fail, but because failure with a built-in excuse feels safer than success, with no explanation for why you, specifically, made it and others didn't. Think about how often you've done a smaller version of this. Slowing down right before finishing something. adding one more round of edits that wasn't really necessary, telling yourself you'll launch it properly later. Every one of those moves quietly keeps you at a safe distance from the exposure of actually arriving. And exposure is the right word, because being seen is exactly what the ancient brain is guarding against. There's a related phenomenon that makes this even stranger. Psychologists Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes, in the late 1970s, documented what they called the impostor phenomenon. High-achieving people who, instead of internalizing their success, become convinced it was luck, timing, or a mistake about to be discovered. Notice what that belief actually does. It shrinks you back down. It puts you quietly back inside the group instead of above it.